Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Here East and welcome to Plexel. I'm Andrew Rowan, Chief Executive of Plexel. Fulfilling my duties of the host of the day, I must take you through some housekeeping. We're not expecting a fire alarm for today. If there is a fire alarm, my team will direct you to the notable fire exits to the left of me and then towards the back and down the stairs. And if you do need the facilities, if you wander around the event space, and the toilets are immediately behind me. If you need any help at all, my team are on hand, and we'd love to welcome you back again. So that this is a place for collaboration. So if this is the first time you've been here, please do come back. Now, Plexel's mission is to unlock technological progress, drive economic growth, and deliver social prosperity for the UK by supporting the government's science, innovation, and technology policy agenda. So it couldn't be more fitting and it couldn't be more proud a moment for us to be able to welcome the Secretary of State for the Department for Science, Innovation and Technology to the stage to make what's a really exciting series of policy announcements today. Now, we'll have 20 minutes in this room and then an opportunity to network after that. So please do hang around and make the most of this community. Welcome, Secretary of State.
Good afternoon, and thank you to Plexel for hosting us all here today. As a trusted partner of government, we share a belief in innovation and that innovation is enhanced by collaboration. The support offered here to entrepreneurs, startups and scale-ups is hugely valuable. So thank you once again for that incredibly warm welcome. It's nearly a full year, believe it or not, since my department was first created as what I call the true startup of Whitehall. For the first time, the innovative science and tech startups that are fueling our economy have a dedicated department with a clear North Star in the form of the Science and Technology Framework. And we are on a mission to be a powerhouse of growth. But we were in a very different position when we look back to 2010 when we assumed office. Still recovering from the global financial crash, venture capital investments into UK startups were small, just 1/10 of what they are today. Our innovators were starved of the cash that they needed to scale. And while it's unthinkable now in today's economy, the UK had just 10 unicorns to its name. 1/15 of the number that we have created. In response, we didn't just talk about being the government of business. We acted as the government of business, supporting businesses who ultimately, of course, create the growth and wealth for our nation. And by enabling them to succeed, we completely changed the game, reinvigorating a mindset that puts growth and opportunity first. Because we knew then, as we know now, that the true value of scale-ups is not only measured in pounds and pence, but for the explosion of jobs and skills in local communities that comes as a byproduct. In Rishi Sunak, we have a Prime Minister who doesn't just share this mindset, he actually puts it into practice by personally championing rapid growth in our science and technology sector. And this is a government that has built a pro-investment tax regime proudly on the side of British business. Year after year, the Prime Minister has shown that he is ready to support and strengthen schemes that are vital for our science and tech ecosystem. Schemes such as seed enterprise investment, as well as enterprise investment scheme and venture capital trusts, which were recently extended by the Chancellor to 2035. And my own department's spin-out review, which will help commercialise the astonishing quantity and, of course, quality of research coming out of UK's academic community. We've introduced new immigration routes, including the scale-up visa, highlighting the importance that we place on backing British business to grow. And when the sector was threatened by Silicon Valley Bank crisis, myself, the Prime Minister and the Chancellor, we acted fast to work around the clock with many of you in this room to find a solution. And more recently, the Mansion House reforms announced by the Chancellor last year are set to unlock new capital for our high-growth companies, benefiting pension savers in the process. They will incentivise fast-growing firms to list in the UK, as well as delivering smarter, more flexible regulatory framework. The List initiative alone will generate over £1 billion in investment for our science and tech companies, as well as stimulating the VC system itself, alongside the VC fellowship scheme that we recently announced. These complement Lord Hill's listing review, the investment research review, and the overhaul of the UK's prospectus regime by the Treasury. It is the very success of these policies and the difference that they are going to actually make for business up and down the country that drives me to go further. I grew up in a family of small business owners. In fact, watching my dad's business struggle under the weight of clumsy regulation and short-term thinking from Westminster is one of the factors that made me want to become a politician, to change things. And that is partly why I aim to be an evidence-driven politician, someone who leads by listening and is motivated by creating opportunities. Entrepreneurs and businesses don't need us politicians telling them what is good for them. They need us to enable them to seize the opportunities that we are helping them to create. It is that opportunity-focused entrepreneurial spirit that I think we need more of in Whitehall. So from day one in DSIT, we have been listening. And what I've heard, loud and clear, is that Britain's innovation success story is built on three things on the whole. 1, skills. 2, scale up. And 3, regulation to support innovation. And it is these core principles, already part of the science and technology framework, that will be the tools to unlocking the next level of economic growth. The right skills for the future, the right conditions for startups to scale up, and the right regulations to support innovation and the long-term business confidence. And our plan is working. Scale-ups, which is the subject I'm focusing on today, are fueling phenomenal results in our economy. A tech sector worth over $1 trillion, by far the largest in Europe. 1.8 million people employed in startups right now, triple the number in 2018. And by far the most venture capital investment into tech in Europe. By far the most investment in university spin-outs in Europe. And by far the most unicorns in Europe. And of course, just over the weekend, the Sunday Times revealed a number of high-value tech companies planning IPOs on the London Stock Exchange worth billions of pounds. But don't be fooled. For those who say this is all about London, the top 10 towns and cities that saw the most growth in venture capital investment were actually all outside of London, with cities like Sheffield seeing nearly 600% growth and Birmingham over 1,000% growth since 2019 alone. Now, the UK is delivering on its commitment to become a science and technology superpower by 2030. And I believe there's never been a better time to be a science and tech entrepreneur wanting to scale up across the UK and beyond. But those same businesses who have told us that our plan is working have been absolutely clear that we cannot afford to take our foot off the gas, nor can we pretend that we still don't have so much more to do. We do have the right ingredients to become a scale-up superpower if we tap into that unlocked potential, particularly those companies on the cusp of scaling. Despite leading Europe, we need to make sure that our future unicorns continue to make the UK their home. When I speak to founders, many of them tell me that their ventures are still being held back by a lack of investment that is hindering their potential to scale. However, UK-based venture capital firms raised more money than ever in the last 3 years. Never before have VCs had so much dry powder stored up and ready to go. And we have a bounty of world-leading science and technology skills and talent here in the UK. That is why, right now, is not the time to change course. We've got to double down on our plan. Opportunity is right in front of us, and we must seize it. Now is the time to cement the UK's reputation as the most stable, the most innovative, and the most rewarding place to invest and deliver on our science and tech superpower ambitions. Innovative businesses looking to scale up should not have to get on a plane to get the investment they need. This government wants to help crack open the powder kegs of UK investment and see more homegrown scale-ups fueled by homegrown funding. Because if we really want to unlock the next level of funding for our extraordinary businesses, then I believe the 2030s will see the UK triple the rate at which we have created new unicorns since 2010. I believe that the UK should account for at least 50% of all new unicorns created by Europe as a whole. A true scale-up powerhouse where opportunity and high-skilled jobs fuel economic growth across the country, including outside cities. Now, my ambition is that the UK should close the gap on the US, matching its current levels of VC investment as a share of GDP by 2030, about 5 billion per year extra. Long-term planning, greater access to finance, that's how government enables the scale-ups of the future. So when it comes to long-term planning, my business-led approach forms the foundation of every single initiative. Because let's face it, no one knows what business needs better than business. And we've got to do more than the same old stakeholder engagement. The power of government to act as a convener in the long term must be fully utilised. And that's why today I am announcing the creation of a new scale-up forum. The forum will capitalise on government's convening power to bring together leading figures from across our growing science and technology sector. From innovative tech companies and business support organisations to investors and regulators. And it will drive meaningful change that builds on and pulls together all these ideas alongside the excellent work of the Scale-Up Institute and the Business Innovation Forum. By really getting to grips with the thorny issues that entrepreneurs and investors face day in, day out. From access to capital, to infrastructure, to skills, to regulation. And promoting investment in the sector by championing the UK's scale-up ecosystem. Businesses' long-term interests will now be represented by business, for business, right at the heart of government. But that is just the start. The Scale-Up Forum can and will support the government to double down on its role as an enabler, especially when it comes to providing targeted support to those who are our most promising startups. And while we have so many statistics of the success stories, what keeps me up at night is thinking about how many of those innovative startups are still waiting at the starting line for that cash injection to fuel their journey. Or the opportunity to access overseas markets to support their growth journey. Or the right skills to help them propel their company to the next level. How many future Deliveroos or Pension Bees or Oak Norths or benevolent AIs are ready to scale but lack those essential resources, are confused by the regulatory landscape, or lack the right talent or the opportunities to access large markets to get going? Well, I don't tend to wait around and find out. So today I can announce that the Scale-Up Forum will be driving a new pilot, a science and tech-focused scale-up support service. This will provide support to 20 of the most promising science and technology businesses waiting to scale up, with targeted support from government to help them to unblock the key issues that are getting in the way of their high growth ambitions. We'll guide businesses around the obstacles and help them burst through any barriers that stops them reaching their full potential, connecting them to the best possible advice, whether that's help with generating innovative IP or creating skilled employment or expanding into overseas markets. And to kickstart this process, I'll be hosting, with the support of the British Private Equity and Venture Capital Association, a series of events designed to bring together the most promising science and technology businesses with some of the lead investors in the UK. The new service builds on recommendations from the Startup Coalition to improve networks for high potential businesses. And it will be designed to turn missed opportunities into seized opportunities, embodying what I want this year for my department to be all about: aspiration, opportunity, and delivery. We must also ensure that our world-leading science and innovation sector supports British businesses to scale and grow. So today, UKRI are announcing a new declaration to businesses, which sets out a commitment to support firms of all sizes to invest in the innovation that they need to scale into the success stories of tomorrow. UKRI will simplify and expand its support for innovative growing firms across the country, with Innovate UK aiming to reach 1 million investors by the end of the year, and to halve the average time it takes for companies to go from application to actually receiving grant funding. Applying a practical, proactive, pro-business approach that lifts up British talent in a way that makes a tangible difference. Long-term planning isn't just required in government, of course. We need to enable aspirational startups to plan their long-term scale-up journeys, especially when it comes to regulatory requirements. Regulate to innovate is not just some slogan that I happen to use. I think it's a commitment that I make to businesses across the country. And that is why I am backing the Regulatory Horizon Council report published today and committing to reviewing the recommendations to become unapologetically ambitious in our regulatory approach. And that is also why this year I will develop a regulatory support service specifically designed to help science and tech companies to navigate rules and regulations. Because we know that regulation isn't just about dry ink on the statute books. I believe that the behaviour of our regulators and regulatory simplicity is absolutely key. No business should be daunted by regulation. Our job in government is to ensure regulation provides the clarity and the certainty that business needs to navigate and go forward and grow. And I want to enable businesses to get their products and their services to market faster, more efficiently, and without compromising, of course, on safety, particularly where there might be no obvious pathways to do so. So I've asked my officials to be unapologetically ambitious in this agenda, working with colleagues in the Department of Business and Trade to harness the true power of tech, including the potential for large language models to play a role here, helping businesses to build a long-term roadmap for future growth, and one where open regulation leads to faster innovation. But while cash is king, access to resources should not only be about capital. Take data, for example. In many cases, data is as much a fuel for growth as capital itself. Data-driven scale-ups is one of the key to success. Understanding where your mass market is, what they need, and how to engage with them are absolutely vital stepping stones to scaling up. So the question is, who holds that large amount of low-risk data, and who decides who accesses it? Of course, the answer, as you might have guessed, is the same to both questions: the government. And since both local and national government are amongst the largest data holders in the country, we are sitting on a potential goldmine of useful information that could be the key to growth for so many businesses. So today, I'm committing to the data-driven scale-up agenda and will be making data access a government priority this year. Looking at ways of improving responsible data access and data use in order to fuel even faster growth in scale-ups, whilst, of course, continuing to prioritise data privacy and data consent. Where government can unlock opportunities to help data-driven businesses scale up through responsible access, we will do so. Now, before I conclude, I want to add a further commitment in today's announcements. Following the recommendations of the excellent work by Tech UK last year, the start of 2024 will see my department embark on a scale-up policy sprint that will bring forward even more support for scale-ups. There is no silver bullet that will move the UK's success story onto the next level overnight. It requires us to layer up our policies, deploy the right support at the right time. But I reiterate again, this scale-up sprint will not be a centralised closed-shop exercise in government PR. We are going to listen to businesses and entrepreneurs. We're going to hear what more you need, and we're going to continue to deliver. And the reason I am so passionate about scale-up is simple. Scale-up means more jobs, and new jobs mean new skills, and new skills mean new innovation, and innovation means economic growth. Our communities, our businesses, and ultimately our country is richer after every successful scale-up. So let's work together to ensure that 2024 is the year that the UK begins to solidify its place as a long-term scale-up superpower. Thank you.